sorry I've been gone so long. I've had a lot of other stuff going on and haven't really been making a lot of tutorials. Thought I better get something up on this channel though. So I've made a really simple little crystal anklet today. Now, laying here, it's not nearly as pretty, but if I pick it up, you're not going to be able to see it as well either. So this is what it looks like. You can make this on a smaller scale and make it as a bracelet too. If I do that, I can show you. If I hold it, it's of course too big for my wrist, but I can show you what it looks like this way. This would make a really pretty little bracelet too. And I am going to make a matching necklace. And I think most everyone could figure out how to make the bracelet from the anklet. I may go ahead and do one, but all you have to do is make it smaller. But anyway, this is what we're going to make today. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what we'll need for this project. Okay, for this project today, I'm going to use Nanofil, and I'm using the 10-pound weight because I want this to be very strong. So you can use 8 or 6-pound Fireline. I would prefer 8 because, like I said, you want this to be strong. When you make an anklet, you need to make sure that it's going to be nice and strong. So I'm using 10-pound Nanofil, and I will use a wingspan to start with. That's when you stretch your arms straight out, side to side like you're going to fly. Measure from fingertip to fingertip across your chest. And that's what the amount of thread we will start with. Then we will be using a lobster claw clasp. Of course, you can use any kind of clasp you want, but for an anklet, I find that lobster claw works better. And this one's a pretty good size one. And then I'm going to be using a closed jump ring. You can also use a segment of chain if you'd like to make an extender on your anklet. You will also be using 8-0 and 11-0 seed beads. These are both Toho, and they are the galvanized aluminum silver tone. Then you will need some Bicone crystals. I'm using a 5mm Bicone crystal and a 4mm Bicone crystal. Now you can use all 4mm, and you can use a 6mm instead of a 5mm if you'd like. You could probably get away with rondelles or rounds. I am going to use the 5mm because it's about the right size of dangle that I want. Now, if you use all 4s, your little dangles that reach down will be just a little bit smaller than the dangles I make. So anyway, I have got 5mm and 4mm Bicone crystals. They are Swarovski and they are clear. I will be using a size 10 beading needle. You can also use a 12, but with the heavier pound threads, you'll probably want to use a size 10. Go ahead and thread your needle and we'll get started. Okay, to start this project, you're going to pick up 4 8-0 seed beads. Bring them down to the end of your thread. You don't have to leave a long tail, just a few inches to hold on to. And then go back up through the first 8-0 seed bead you put on the tail side. Hold on to that seed bead, hold on to your tail, and pull your working thread through until you have a little unit that looks like this. Then we're going to sew back through all of these beads. So let me get a little closer. And I am coming out of this bead here. I'm just going to go into the next one and just sew all the way around. I like to do one bead at a time so that my little unit retains its shape and doesn't get pulled all funny. Then I will go back through the bead I started in, and I'll pull tightly. Now I'm going to go around one more time and tie a knot, simply because I want to make sure that my beads aren't going to slip around. So I'm going to go ahead and go back through one more time, and this time I will stop where my 2 threads meet, where my tail and my working thread meet. So right here, my 2 threads are together. As you can see, I'm just going to tie a little overhand knot here. And then I'll do that one more time just to secure it. Make sure your knot goes down between your beads and not on top of them. And this is what you should have. One little unit of 4 beads like this. Now, for this particular bracelet, we are going to put the clasping on first on this end so that as we work through it, we don't have to worry about it. So we're going to come up into the next bead because right now we're between the beads where we tied the knot. So go ahead and go into the next bead like so. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and then a 4mm Bicone crystal, and then grab your lobster claw clasp. Drop the beads down to your unit, like so. Go through the clasp. Drop it down on top of the crystal here, and then just go back through the crystal. So just right through the crystal and only the crystal. Hold on to your little unit between your thumb, hold on to your crystal, the whole thing, and just pull that clasp down, like so. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. We started in this side of this 8-0 seed bead. We're going to go into the opposite side here, and we're going to pull these 2 11-0s down. Now this is what we should have right here. We're going to sew back up through this 2 more times to secure it. So I'm going to go up, I'm coming out of this side of the 8-0 seed bead, I'm going to go up into the 2 11-0s and the crystal. Then I'm going to go through my clasp again, and then down through my crystal and the 2 11-0s on the other side. And back through the 8-0 seed bead. Do that 1 or 2 more times and we'll be back. Okay, so I have secured my clasp and I'm coming out of the 8-0 seed bead after going up through it and securing it again. Now, I'm going to pick up my piece and I'm going to sew to this 8-0 seed bead. So I need to go through this side one here and up through this one here. And we are going to make a couple of little units before we begin the actual body of the bracelet. So we are going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and an 8-0 seed bead, and then 3 more 11-0 seed beads onto our needle. So this is what I have: 3 11-0s, 8-0, 3 11-0s. I'm coming out of this side of the 8-0 seed bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side. And I'm going to pull these into a loop like so. I'm going to turn it over just so I can get to it better, and I'm going to sew back through it again because this needs to be secure. The end of your anklet needs to be strong, so we will secure it here. And once you get all the way around, sew back up to the 8-0 away from your clasp. So the one that's farthest away, we're going to go through and exit so that we are in position to start the next unit. Now, we're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a Bicone crystal, an 11-0 seed bead, or excuse me, yes, 11-0 seed bead, and then an 8-0 seed bead, and then an 11-0, a Bicone crystal, and an 11-0. Sorry about that, got confused. So 11-0, Bicone crystal, 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, Bicone crystal, 11-0. We're coming out of this side of the 8-0, we're going to go into the opposite side. And pull these down. And then again, sew through all of these beads to secure them. So I'm going to turn it over just so I have access to it better. And I'm going to go through all of these beads. So I've gone through the 11-0, the crystal, then I'll go through these 3 beads here. Pull it tight. Then I'll go through the crystal and the 11-0 on this side. And the 8-0 that I'm connecting to, the 11-0 behind it, and back up to the top 8-0 and exit. So I'm going to go through these two and then up through this 8-0 right here and exit. Now we're going to do a little bit different of a unit here. This is where we're going to start our dangles that we'll connect to for the embellishment. So we'll pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 4mm bicone crystal, and then an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, and then a 5mm bicone crystal, an 11-0 seed bead, a 5mm bicone crystal, and an 8-0 seed bead. And I will show you what I have. So this is what I have: 11-0 bicone 4mm, 11-0, 8-0, 5mm bicone, 11-0, 5mm bicone, and 8-0. Then I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 8-0 I'm coming out of, and I'm going to pull these down. Now I'm going to turn this over, and I'm just going to go through this 11-0, 8 or bicone crystal, and 11-0 right here. Got my tail in the way, sorry about that. Let's turn it over. This is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and secure this unit. It's because the very end units, like I said, need to be secured, so I'm going to sew through all of these beads. You can do this throughout the entire brace or anklet if you'd like, going through each one, or you can just go through the top 3. I'll show you what I mean and continue. But I recommend the first couple to make them nice and strong, because this is where you get most of the resistance when you're pulling on it to put it on your ankle. So anyway, I'm coming out of this 8-0 seed bead right here. I'm going to go through this 11-0 and the 4mm bicone crystal and the 11-0 behind it, like so. And I'm going to pull my thread through. Now we are going to create kind of a chain look, and all of these dangles are going to come down from that chain. So how we're going to do that is we are going to pick up onto our thread 6 11-0 seed beads. So go ahead and pick up 6 and drop them down. And just leave those sitting there. Then pick up a 4mm bicone crystal, pick up an 11-0, pick up an 8-0, and I'll back off so you can see what I'm doing, and pick up an 8-0, and then pick up a 5mm bicone crystal, an 11-0, a 5mm bicone crystal, and an 8-0. And I will show you what I've got here. So I've got a 4mm bicone, an 11-0, and 8-0. A 5mm bicone, an 11-0, and a 5mm bicone, and an 8-0. I'm going to bring these down like so. Then I'm going to hold on to 5 of the seed beads that I put on, and I'm going to let the 6th one be on my finger here in front of it. I'm going to go into the 6th 11-0 seed bead here from the clasp side. So we're just going around into a circle. My clasp is down here. I'm coming through this 1 11-0 seed bead, and I'm going to pull this unit up into a circle, and I'm going to just kind of scoot it down on the thread so that there's no slack between my 11-0s. And then I'm going to go through the 4mm bicone and the 11-0 behind it, just like this. And I'm going to pull this down and tighten it up and make sure it's flush up against the last unit. And that is how you make your units. Now you can go ahead and sew through the entire thing if you'd like. Just make sure when you come back around you exit this 11-0 seed bead on the other side of the 4mm bicone crystal. And then I'm just, for time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and make the next unit and show you how to work through this bracelet. So we're going to pick up 5 11-0 seed, or actually 6 11-0 seed beads. So I've got 6 of them on there, and I'm going to drop them down. Then I'm going to pick up a 4mm Bicone crystal. Let me back off. A 4mm Bicone crystal, and then I'm going to pick up an 11-0, and then I'm going to pick up an 8-0, and then I'm going to pick up a 5mm Bicone crystal, an 11-0, and a 5mm Bicone crystal, and an 8-0. Same thing that we picked up before. I'm going to drop this down, like so. Let's get in close again. I'm going to hold on to 5 of my 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to have the 6th one on my finger here, and I'm going to come up through it on the clasp side. So I'm going out towards the other end of my bracelet. See? And I'm just going to pull it down. Now we're going to go through this Bicone crystal and this 11-0. So just go through those beads there. And pull it together and tighten it back. There you go. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Let's go ahead and do one more unit together, and then we'll go to length off camera. So we're going to pick up 5 11-0 or 6 11-0 seed beads, and we're going to drop those down. Pick up a 4mm Bicone crystal, and then pick up an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, a 5mm Bicone, an 11-0 seed bead, a 5mm Bicone, and an 8-0 seed bead, like so. Drop them down, and same thing that we've been doing. Just kind of divide the 5 away from the 6th 11-0 seed bead. Go in to the side that's closest to the clasp that you just put on and go through it. Pull this into a circle, and then get close, come up through the Bicone crystal and the 11-0 behind it. And that's what you should have. Now continue doing this until you've made 9 of these dangles with your 11-0 seed beads in between them. Now this will make just a little over a 10-inch, or right around, it's about a 9.5, 10-inch anklet, which is about average size. Now if you want to make a smaller anklet, if you're a very small person, then you will make, instead of 12 units, you'll make 9. Now you can make this side longer on the ends so that it's a little bit longer if you need to, but your units need to be divisible by 3. So if you're not making 12, you have to make 9. If you're bigger and you want to make it larger, then you'll have to make 15. This needs to be divisible by 3 for our next embellishment to work. So you may have to, if you have to go down 3 units and that's just a little bit too small, you may have to add a little bit of a chain extender to the end, or like I said, make a couple more units on the end here on either side, and you can make up for the length that way. However, I'm going to make 12 units. This is going to make about a 9.5 inch anklet, and if I need to, I can add an extender to it. But I think about 9.5 will be right for me. So go ahead, and if you're making the same amount I am, go ahead and make it 12 units. Otherwise, make 9 or 15 units, and we'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I have made my 12 units, and I am ready now to add the clasping to the other side, and then we'll sew through and make our dangle embellishments on the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is, let me get you close, I'm going to go ahead and, maybe that's a little too close, and secure this last unit. So I'm coming out of the 11-0 seed bead here like I would be in line to make my next unit. I'm going to go ahead and go down into the 8-0 seed bead, and I'm going to go all the way around this unit and just secure it really tightly so that it has some strength, because this again is an end of the anklet. So I'm going to go ahead and go through it like so. Now I am going to pick up on this side. I'm going to go ahead, actually I need to go into this 8-0 seed bead down here. So we're going to go into the 11-0 and the 8-0 right here. And then we're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 4mm bicone crystal, an 11-0 seed bead, an 8-0 seed bead, an 11-0, a 4mm bicone crystal, if I can get one, and an 11-0. I will show you what I have since you can't see my beads very well. So this is what I have: 11-0, 4mm bicone crystal, 11-0, oops, I had two 8-0s, an 8-0, an 11-0, a bicone crystal, and an 11-0. So let's do that again. 11-0, bicone, 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, bicone, 11-0. Bring these down to the piece and then go into the opposite side of the 8-0 you're coming out of. So you've got an 11-0 here, don't go into it, just go into this 11-0 or this 8-0 right here. And bring your unit around like so. And go ahead and sew through this unit again. All three of the seed beads on this side, and then I'll go through the crystal and the 11-0 behind the crystal, and back into the 8-0 that I attached to, like so. Now I'm going to sew up to this 8-0 seed bead to do my next unit. So we're going to go all the way through these beads and up through this 11-0 and exit the 8-0 here. And pull the thread through. Then we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, an 8-0, and 3 11-0 seed beads. And then go to the opposite side here, like so. Sew through all of these beads again. I'm going to sew through the 8-0 I'm attaching to, and then I will sew back up through these 3 11-0s and the 8-0 I started in, like so. Now I need to put the end for my clasping on. So I'm just going to use a closed jump ring on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and I am going to pick up an 8-0. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to go into the jump ring. I could put a crystal here, but because it'll be right up against the jump ring, I think it'll cut the thread. So I'm going to use an 8-0. And I'm going to go through the jump ring and then back through the 8-0 seed bead. I'm going to hold onto it and pull my thread through and pull that 8-0 down, or the jump ring down to the 8-0, like so. Then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and I'm going to go through the opposite side, like so, and pull. And then I am going to go up through the 2 11-0s and the 8-0, like this, around the jump ring and back into the 8-0, and then the 2 11-0s on the other side. And do this a couple of times just to make sure that it's nice and secure. After we have secured that, we'll be back and we will start our embellishments. Okay, so I haven't secured my end, but I wanted to show you with both of my ends on for my clasping, my anklet is right at 9.5 inches, which is good for me. It leaves me a little wiggle room too, so that it's not real tight around your ankle. You do not want your anklet to be tight, because when you move your ankle, your foot up and down, your ankle changes a little bit of size and it'll break your anklet. So you want it to be a little loose. For me, 9.5 is about right. Now, you, like I said, you can make more of these end units, or you can make more of the dangle units, but you have to make sure these dangle units are divisible by 3. So I have made 12, which of course is divisible by 3. Now, let's look. I'm going to bring my bracelet this way, or my anklet this way, and I'm going to show you where I'm coming out here. I have sewn through and secured this end of my clasping very tightly, and went through about 4 times. Now I'm coming out of this 8/0 seed bead. I'm going to go into these 3 11/0s here. I'm going to go through this 8/0 here. Let's get in the middle here. Let's get a little bit closer, just a little bit. Hopefully that's not blurring at all. And we're going to go through these top 3, because I'm coming out of this 8/0 here. I'm going to go through these top 3 here. And then we're going to go down into this 8/0 seed bead. So avoid the 11/0s on either side of that 8/0. Just go into the 8/0 seed bead right here. And then you're going to want to go into the crystal and the 11/0 between the 2 crystals. Right here. Now we are ready to do embellishments. Now we're coming out of this 11/0 seed bead here. Let's go ahead and pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, and then 3 4mm Bicone crystals onto the needle. Let's see if I can get them rather quickly here. And then a 5mm Bicone crystal, and then 3 4mm Bicone crystals. Like I said, you don't have to use different sizes. You can use all 4 too if you'd like, 4mm that is. And then 3 more 11/0 seed beads. So what we have on our thread now is 3 11/0 seed beads, and then we have 3 4mm Bicone crystals, and then we have a 5mm Bicone crystal, 3 4mm, and 3 11/0s. I am going to skip this dangle, and I'm going to go into the next dangle and go into the 11/0 seed bead. And pull that like so. Then I'm going to do the same thing again, and then I'll skip this one and go into this one. So 3 11/0 seed beads. Then I'm going to pick up 3 4mm Bicone crystals. Let me back off just so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to pick up a 5mm Bicone crystal, and then I'm going to pick up 3 more 4mm Bicone crystals onto my needle. And then I will pick up 3 11/0 seed beads and drop them down. The exact same series we did here, we've done here. We're going to skip this dangle and go into this dangle. And we're going to continue this exact same series until we get to the end of the anklet, and we'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I have gone all the way to the end, except I have 1 dangle still available here. So don't worry about that. We're going to come back around, and then we're going to hook dangles through the other ones. So that's why we needed the count of units that we have. So now I'm coming out here. Let's get you close so you can see. I'm coming out right out of this 11/0 seed bead from doing my last little swag here. And now I'm going to sew around this entire unit and then come back through and go to this unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up through this Bicone crystal here, and we're going to sew around the entire unit to secure this embellishment. So make sure your embellishment is nice, doesn't have any slack anywhere, and then sew up into this 8/0 seed bead, and then we're going to go into this little 11/0 right here before the Bicone crystal, and then into the Bicone and the 11/0 after the Bicone on the top row right there. Pull it tight, make sure that the slack doesn't stay in there. It may you may get some slack as you go around, but just tighten it up. And then I'm going to go back into the 11/0 that I started in. I'm going to go into the Bicone behind it. I am going to go into this 8/0 seed bead here, right here. And then I'm going to go into these 6 seed beads this way, or these 5 actually, let's see, yep, 6. Go all the way through all of these seed beads on the top here. And then we're going to go into this 11/0 right next to the 4mm Bicone crystal, and then into the one behind it. And then down into here, this 8/0 here, that's at kind of an angle, so just kind of work your way through it. But don't go into the 11/0 seed bead on this side of it, just the 8/0. Then you can go into the 11/0 seed bead on this side here. And then into the Bicone crystal, and down into the 11/0 seed bead between the Bicone crystals. And now we are situated to start the swags going this way. So we'll skip this unit and go into this unit. So we'll pick up the same thing we have been picking up. We're going to pick up 3 11/0 seed beads, 3 4mm Bicone crystals, and then a 5mm, and then 3 more 4mm, and then I'm going to drop these down and pick up 3 11/0 seed beads. And then I will go into this 11/0 right here. So let's get you close so you can see where I went. And see, make sure my Bicones and everything line up nice. Yep. And then I will just continue doing the same thing again. I'll go from this one to this one to this one and so forth until we get to the very last unit. Well, this one before the very last unit, so right here, and then we will be back. Okay, so now you can see I have done my entire second embellishment. It's really cute. So now we're going to finish off this project. Let's get a little bit closer. Oops, there. And right now I'm coming out of the 11/0 seed bead after putting my last little swag on. So I'm going to go up through this Bicone crystal and then into the 8/0 behind it. And then I'm going to go around this entire unit. So I'm going to go through the 3 top beads here. Then I'll go through the 8/0 and the Bicone crystal behind it. So I'm just sewing around the original unit that I was connecting to. And then I'm going to come back up through the Bicone crystal here and the 8/0, and then right here I'm going to tie a knot on the thread bridge right between the 8/0 and the 11/0 seed bead right here. And I will just go underneath that thread bridge, and I need to adjust my thread, hang on, there we go, and then through the loop, and I'm just going to pull that knot in there. And then what I'm going to do to make this bracelet a little bit stronger is I'm just going to sew through the top again, or not bracelet, but anklet. to sew through all these top beads because there's only one thread going through there, and you want this to be stronger than that. Like I said, anklets get a lot of abuse. So we're just going to go through these top beads. As many as you can get at once is fine. Just don't miss any because you'll bunch up your top row there if you do. And then wherever you leave off, just go through again and just continue sewing through the top beads, making sure that you get the 11 O's on either side of the crystal in the top there, and go through the crystal too, of course. Now, halfway through, we can tie a knot right on here, so we'll just go between the two beads here and grab a little knot. Make sure that knot goes down between the beads, so do it very controlled. And then go back into the next beads and continue sewing all the way across the top. And you can put as many knots in as you'd like between the beads, that's fine. You can even go down and sew into one of the units and tie knots if you'd like. It just depends on how much thread you have left. I have plenty. You should too if you started with a full wingspan. And keep going all the way across. Until we get to the very end, and we'll knot off again, and then we will cut off the tail thread and the working thread and burn down the ends. So I'm almost to my very last unit here. So let's see, here I am right here. I'm going to sew around this unit. So I'm just going through the original unit here, just to secure my last pass of thread through the top beads. And when I get to the top here, I'm going to go ahead and tie off between this 11-0 and this 8-0 right here. Grab the thread bridge, go underneath it, grab my loop, pull tight, and then I'll just go through these two beads here, on top again, and then down through this 8-0, and I'm going to cut off right there. So this is where I'm going to cut this off, and I'll leave a little bit extra so I can burn it down. I'll cut this tail, leave a little bit extra, and cut it down. And then, just for the sake of showing you, in case you need to, let me show you what that looks like. It's really quite pretty, and it'll dangle on the ankle really pretty. So let me show you with a little bit of chain. If you have some chain, see if I have some handy. Okay, so I grabbed myself a little piece of chain, and I turned a head pin and just put a crystal on the end of it. And then I can open this up. I'll just open up the link of my chain, since my, so I'm just opening it from side to side. Let's get a little closer. And I will just slide it on. This is my, jump ring was a closed one, so I have to open the chain, and then I will just put it back on, or slip it on too, not put it back on, to my closed jump ring on my bracelet, on my clasping, and pop it on there. Now, that way you can adjust the length of it for whoever's going to wear it. So if you want to just make it a 9-inch, which like I said, that's usually the size of an anklet, is a 9-inch. Then you can put a little extender on it, and then most anybody can wear it. Now, if you're making it for a very small person, you may have to adjust the length also, the opposite direction, of course. Instead of trying to make it bigger, you'll want to make it a little smaller. But I think that turned out really pretty. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll take a picture of it on an ankle so that you can see that, and I will post it at the end of the video here. Have a good day. Bye-bye.